IVM.
Science journalists Nandita Jairaj and Ashima Dogra have traveled to institutes across India, interviewing a wide spectrum of women in science and discovering research that is pushing the boundaries of their respective fields. Through the course of these podcasts, we will learn of the daily grind that makes up their lives as scientists, the significance of their research, the limitations of their experiments, and the challenges and discrimination they encounter being women in the scientific community. In this episode, Ashima talks to Kavita Shah, whose speciality is environmental biotechnology.
So I met Kavita Shah outside her office while she was being conferred as one of the 6 directors of Benaras Hindu University. With regard to her research, she has 2 jewels in her crown that shine the brightest. One is the enzyme-based sensor of the neurotransmitter dopamine, for which she was recently decorated with the Women Scientist Award 2011 from the Biotech Research Society.
See, I work with stress physiology, especially abiotic stresses, metal stress in rice, using rice as a model plant.
Okay.
And my area of interest is actually diverse because I have worked in different areas. I began with pure biochemistry, that is biochemical aspects in stress physiology. But then I moved into environmental biotechnology because I could discover something really interesting from my sources, which could be applied in the sense that I could use those enzymes for building up a sensor, and that sensor could be used for a plant origin enzyme, which can be used for developing a sensor for monitoring something in the biological fluid of human. So it's like measuring of dopamine in neurological disorders, Parkinson's and Alzheimer's patients.
It's a dopamine sensor?
A dopamine biosensor. Okay. It's already patented. One of my students, Priyanka Singh, she's working in that area. We are refining it even more to a higher, let's say, sensitivity. And still we are employing the same enzyme. And in fact we are also looking for commercialization of that enzyme as a replace for other existing enzymes of a similar kind.
In short, her rice peroxidase enzyme biosensor is a novel discovery that can monitor levels of dopamine in neurological patients to help administer a proper dose of the drug to patients with Alzheimer's or Parkinson's disease. The second highlight of Kavita's research are the biosensors and bioreactors she developed to break down pollutants in local small-scale dyeing industry.
Then I moved into this environmental biotechnology aspect, where now I am using the same enzyme for developing of other type of sensors, including nanoparticles and the pollutants, phenols and dyes like that, for their removal and degradation. That is one work I am doing. We are developing sensors to assess it. At the same time because assessment of nanoparticles will tell you about bioaccumulation potential. So that is one thing. So accumulation, magnification of pollutant and of course degradation is the solution. We are developing small units which can be given to right from the source. Say for example, I'll just give you an example, say a dye houses. If dye houses are there, what they are having is a lot of effluents which is carrying chemical dyes. Chemical dyes usually they are having the metal components. So what we want is that if we can get, and what they do, because dyers are small units. So what happens, they are like villagers who are doing this dyeing in addition to some other agricultural activity. So when they are living in small places, 20 dyeing, 30 dyeing, 40 dyeing, what they do after dyeing, this whole water is thrown in the soil. And it is thrown right in the premises where they are living, because they are not aware what toxicity they are going to have from it. They say, okay, it is wastewater, and they just throw it away. But then that is seeping down into their own agricultural belt. It is going down in their water bodies, water table, and when they are extracting water from nearby areas, from hand pumps and other things, these metal contaminants are there. And there is no way to remove it. So if we can have or improvise some such kind of reactors which can be provided to them at very low cost, then in that case they will be able to at least protect themselves or throw whatever water is there in the soil without contamination. So partially the main toxic parts can be removed. It can come to the level that it is equivalent to an irrigation water. Because again it is difficult to say here, the reason being that different dyers are using different dyes. So I cannot say that yes, I will be removing this and I will be removing that. It has to be a broader component which needs to be removed.
Okay.
And then the water can be simply put without having any direct effect on the plant or the soil. Or even to the human beings if it goes to the water table through leaching. We are living in a carpet belt area. Yeah. So many of these manufacturers, they were a little worried about it because now they have zero liquid discharge systems, ZLDs, and if they have to have ZLDs, no liquid has to be discharged. And if they are talking of ZLDs, that means they cannot afford throwing away water or having some effluent. So what they are doing is more and more they are outsourcing it to small such units so that it does not come to their industry at all. And there's nothing to the industry, then they don't wash it and there's no liquid discharge. And that's becoming more and more government oriented and the certification based system. So this entire plight is now coming back to the small villages, or let's say the small dyers. So this problem was something which we wanted to address and get something in the local level to begin with.
Kavita started as a zoology student at the Women's College at BHU named Mahila Mahavidyalaya or MMV. She earned a PhD from the same university soon after. Following stints in Japan, Geneva, and Northeast Hill University in Shillong, she found herself coming back to teach at Benaras Hindu University. Being a researcher pursuing postdoctoral projects that required a functional lab to carry out experiments, she single-handedly set up a central instrumentation laboratory, a deck of important scientific instruments including spectrometers, microscopes and lasers, inside an examination room at MMV. As I had mentioned before, at the time of the interview, Kavita was one of the 6 directors of Benaras Hindu University and the only woman to hold this top position. Before this, she was one of the only 2 female deans in the 17 departments at the 100-year-old university. So we wanted to find out what it's like being a woman in the field of science.
Being a women scientist is a pleasure, and at the same time, what I feel is more of a devotion towards your mission, what I have seen as a women researcher. Because there are 2 things which one cannot deny. One is that the women have to, still in the Indian system, have to take care of their families, and in spite of them, that have to excel in their professional field.
They have to do both things.
They have to meet both the ends, Yeah. And with that in view, a person who is not devoted for her work, especially a female, can never be a good researcher.
Yeah.
So it's very, very important that if a person has received some award or has come to a distinction, some sort of distinction, that women definitely would have, contributed both to the family as well as to the nation.
It can't be one.
It can't be one, because it becomes very difficult to say that yes, you have left everything and you have come for the career. I don't think so. That's true in the case of Indian women. Another aspect, just to add to it, is that there are 2 extremes why women can be a good researcher, or how it comes to be a good researcher. One is that either she or he has, received a lot of, dissatisfaction from the society, in some way, either in the family terms or in the working place, something like that, or a lot of support. There are 2 very clear ways, and I have experienced it because I have got or received all the support from my family, and at the same time I knew some of my friends who were deprived of everything and but they could accept.
Rebelled.
So it is changing, but still we have a long way to go, because especially in this belt, in UP and Bihar, I would say, it's very different from what I have received in Northeast, where there is a matriarchal society, and here we have totally patriarchal society.
What's the difference?
The biggest difference is that respect to women. the biggest difference. If you go to a vice chancellor's place, if you go to a registrar's place, if you go to any higher official, any authority, any, I'm saying not only governmental, even non-governmental, in that belt, if a woman goes, they will rise from their chair, they will welcome you, unless until you sit, they will not sit. It is just an example. It is not that you expect that from anyone, but it is just that kind of a extent of respect is there. And in this belt,
It's the opposite.
it's not the opposite. I would not generalize that everyone will do it, but then in general, that kind of a respect is not received by. That is not only science, but problem for anything, because then you can read the mindset.
Yeah.
So it's like that. But luckily, I have never received that kind of an attention. As I was already mentioning, Professor Punjab Singh, Professor Lene, and many other people, even in my department, my colleagues. So I never faced that kind of a problem. But it is there.
It's there.
It's somehow difficult for the men folk here to acknowledge a woman. That is difficult.
I also wanted to know if women get the support they need to be in this kind of profession and how science can be more gender equal.
In the university system, it is very important for the higher authorities to be a little more open-minded. Open-minded in the sense that if I was giving you an example of the then Vice Chancellor, even the next Vice Chancellor, Professor D.P. Singh ji, he was also very, very cordial that way. I had very good mentorship from Dr. Lalji Singh also. Even the present Vice Chancellor is very much into like listening to women and other things. So they should be given an equal platform to at least say what they want to, and they should be listened. It is not that you just sit in a crowd and if you say something, you are totally unheard or ignored. That kind of thing should not be there. Many more positions should also be given to women at the higher level, just to make these people understand that women can be good administrators. It has been proved now and then that yes, women are better administrators, they can be good administrators. They are much more, humanitarian in their approach, because their instinct is like that, but still it is difficult for them to accept. So to give this push, it is important that they should be given more positions, and as far as I feel, in every department, at least one of the senior positions should be with a woman. At least one.
Kavita went on to elaborate on what the current situation is like and also what the sex ratio is at the Benaras Hindu University.
That's a difficult question. Ratio. See, I can count among deans, just two of us, out of 17 faculties.
Okay.
That's the statistics as of now.
2 out of 17.
2 out of 17. Then among directors, none.
Out of?
6.
Out of 6.
I am the first one who is appointed, but then I am as of now officiating. So it's like that.
Okay.
Then among heads, 136 departments, and of that 1, 2, 3, I think 7.
7.
That I can count. I don't know, maybe more are there.
This
7.
is BHU,
And
Benaras
then
Hindu.
one principal, women's college. She's also lady, so that's...
You have to count her, of course. I also wanted to understand better whether the education system in India is conducive for girls to pursue science. What kind of problems do girls face at the school level?
I can tell you certain things, like some, because I am also associated with Gopi Radha Balika Inter College. It's my family school, which is for girls' education. So I know that by the time girls come to the class 10th or 12th, they are married and then they are, deprived from further study. This is something which is still prevalent. We do a lot of counseling to the parents and others, but then they are in some other constraint, like they have 3 daughters, 4 daughters, and they have to marry them within time. And because now they will get educated, they will not find equal matches, and there are a number of issues which I think most of the sociologists will talk about. Next very new thing which has come up is the safety of girl child, so they are again constrained about it. Though the government has come up with several scholarships, but then people are not aware of it. So that moves in between among only very few handful who are educated. But these children who are coming from, whose parents might not be educated, but they want their children to be educated, they are not aware of such kind of schemes or such kind of things. So that awareness is still lacking. And I feel that this should be propagated more. For example, Indira Gandhi Girl Child, that Yojana is there. Yeah, a couple of more which has been recently been floated. Single girl child. So many other things are there, but people don't know of it.
Marriage seems to be such an important aspect of what parents and society expect out of a girl in India. I asked Kavita further if marriage was a hindrance to the pursuit of science.
So in fact, I completed my MSc also after my marriage. Then I did my B.Ed, I did my PhD, I did my couple of postdocs. I taught at NEU, my 3 more postdocs here. Then I joined here, Women's College. 2007 I got promoted as an associate professor. In 2011 I joined here, and then I became head and dean. Now today I am director. So I don't say that it is not possible. It is possible. Women give up easily after marriage. And it is important to have that willpower to continue in spite of certain constraints, which is quite obvious in an Indian system, because usually the girls will leave their parents' house and move to a new atmosphere. So that type of a constraint is bound to be there. And if the the woman who is getting married, if she understands that kind of a mindset, she can very well continue with her willpower and do whatever she wants. But it is only that you succumb to their interests and then you just give it up.
But the pressure sometimes is too much to...
And even if the pressure at times is there, it is not like that I have moved through all these stages of flower. It's not like that. It is just that, yes, there are times when pressures are very strong on you and you also feel that, yes, I should now give it up. It's enough of doing it. But then those are the places where you really need to make a very judicious decision. What you want for you in coming 10 years. And if you give it up there, then there is no coming back. And then if you think, no, I have to do it, then you will look for a way out for it. How you can do it. But if you easily say, no, now I have to give it up, there is nothing left further, then you don't look into the way and the means. And once you start looking into for a way comes up for you. It's like that. You pave your own way.
That was science journalist Ashima Dogra in conversation with environmental biotechnologist Kavita Shah. To find out more about her and other women scientists around the country, do check out thelifeofscience.com for Nandita and Ashima's work.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Sorry to say, but there's been a slight delay due to the apocalypse having suddenly begun. As you can see, there's death, destruction, and chaos taking place all around us. But don't you worry, food and drinks will be served shortly, and I would recommend checking out IVM Podcasts to get some of your favorite Indian podcasts. We'll keep you going till this whole thing blows over. Thank you.